Abbie Chatfield has lost her marbles yet again. If you don't know who Abbie Chatfield is, for my non-Australian audience, or maybe you are Australian and you got no idea who the hell Abbie Chatfield is, she is a major Australian influencer, mostly for the Gen Zers, which is quite concerning considering the fact that Abbie Chatfield is a radical dingbat. She's also a radical feminist as well. She is very much on the, well, I guess the insane side of the Greens department here in Australia, and also the radical side of when it comes to politics. So that all being said, recently Abbie Chatfield was in the news, or more or less in one of my videos. I was condemning and calling her out for basically she was saying that Trump should be, knocked off. So I had something to say about that, along with many, many Australians that watched the video and couldn't work out why in the world Abbie Chatfield has a platform the likes that she does. She's got millions of people that follow her, lots of them seemingly, well, I want to be clear about this. If you're following Abbie Chatfield to listen to what she's saying so you can, upload it for yourself and then critique what she's saying and be against what she's saying, because the vast majority of the stuff that she says, I'm going, woman, you've got to stop. Quit while you're ahead, please. So unless you're doing it for that reason and you're following Abbie Chatfield, fantastic. But if you are following Abbie Chatfield and you actually agree with the things that she's saying, go get yourself checked out by a mental health assessor, please, because there's something really not right with Abbie Chatfield. And this video will prove just that. Now, I have held off from making a video about the March for Australia protest that's going on. And I think Australians should be able to protest for this country. I think it's a good thing. And ordinarily, I would be there if I wasn't busy on the 31st of August. The problem that I've got with the date, August 31st, is, well, in Sydney, first and foremost, the location apparently is Town Hall. I don't know if the organizers are aware, but there's a marathon going on that day in the city. And there's going to be hundreds of thousands of people in the city on that day. Probably not the best day to do it. You're going to have a lot of cops. You're going to have, this is the first ever major marathon in Australia. So evidently the organizers, if they hear about any kind of protest going on, they're going to do something about it. They're going to have something to say about it. So while I'm for you guys protesting and exercising your right to do just that, but saying that you're going to cause, because I've heard the organizers of the pro-Palestinian marches, you're going to have counter-protests. And that's going to cause a great deal of grief. So you guys doing it on the same day as a marathon, a major event in Australia, it's not going to turn out well, I don't think. In Sydney, that is. I could be wrong. Nevertheless, you guys do whatever you want to do. But because of this March for Australia rally on the 31st of August, you have a lot of dingbats like Abbie Chatfield who seemingly hates Australia and doesn't want Australians waving the Australian flag only, or even just waving the Australian flag. No, she wants the Palestinian flag to be waved. She wants a bunch of ethnic flags to be waved. She wants the Aboriginal flag to be waved. And, well, there's that. And she goes off this very long tangent accusing people that are pro-Australia and Australia first of being hateful and being fascists and everything else that goes along with it. It's just utterly nuts. Now, the original video went for 6 minutes, but I saved you guys 2 minutes of her insanity because the vast majority of it is just her swearing up a storm. Charming for her. Anyway, that's all they've got, basically swear words. No logic, no rationale whatsoever, just a lot of emotion, a lot of aggression, and a lot of swear words to go along with it. Have a watch of this.
I want to talk about this because I didn't want to bring attention to it, but it's now getting attention, so it's time to talk about it and condemn it. On the 31st of August, there is going to be a nationwide protest for the racists and the xenophobes of Australia to get together and march for Australia. Okay, they claim that it is about cost of living. They claim that it is about Australia gaining itself back, winning Australia back, taking Australia back from whom? No one knows. And this is nothing but a racist, bigoted, disgusting, terrifying rally. And for any immigrants that follow me or are going to see this video, please know you are welcome. And I know that doesn't feel like it. I know that this country does not make it easy for you, but please know that you are welcome. And these protests should be condemned by every Australian. Like, every Australian should realise that that is just xenophobia and racism. Unnecessarily. We know that the problems that we have in this country, like cost of living, are not because of immigrants coming to this country. It is because of much larger, much more complex economic and political strategies. It is also because of worldwide inflation, post a pandemic. There are many different reasons. Price gouging. It is easier to blame people that are below you than it is to try and fight upwards, right? So these people go, I have issues in my life. Oh, the cost of living is really high. It must be these immigrants. These people below me because I feel bigger and more tough than them because I'm aware of my privilege, right? If I'm one of these people going to this rally, I'm aware of my privilege. I know that I won't get cops coming to me. I'm a white person. I know that in society, I can punch down on immigrants because I perceive them as weaker than I am because of my place of privilege in this country that is on stolen land, okay? Immigrants or children of immigrants or anybody who is even visiting this country. It is not my place to welcome all of you because I'm not Aboriginal. I'm not First Nations. I'm not Torres Strait Islander. But I will say the majority of Australians who live in this country do not agree with this shit. They don't agree with it. These insecure losers, these absolute freaks want to feel powerful. And like I was saying before, it's easy to punch down than it is to maybe admit that our system is pretty and maybe those in power who have power over us have much more control than they ever realised, right? It's easier to go, there's a simple solution rather than actually understand that our society is pretty crook. And the stage of capitalism that we're at is pretty bad. And the people that are in power, that you've been bootlicking your whole life, actually aren't going to help you. It isn't the fault of immigrants, okay? So, sorry, that was just, I kind of blacked out just then. I'm so disgusted by this. I'm so about this. I am horrified. If you know anyone that is going to this or posting about this, either they are a neo-Yahtzee or they don't know what it's actually about, so inform them. But it's pretty hard to not know. They're saying no international flags, no flags from other countries. Yet in comments, these losers are talking about how Aboriginal flags and Torres Strait Islander flags aren't allowed. Hey, you're actually all immigrants as well. We are all immigrants. What generation do we stop caring? I don't think it's generational. I think it's actually just racial. Because all of you are the same people that when asked say, yeah, I'm actually 3/4 Irish and yeah, I'm actually a bit French as well. Aren't you? So you find to claim heritage when it's white, but any person of colour walking, oh, they're ruining my life. No, they're not. Your life has gotten harder because of a mixture of poor government policies, economic policies, global inflation, but also, I'm going to bet if you're going to this, something to do with your own choices, because you're such a loser if you're going to this. Anyway, sorry, I ranted again.
We're taking Australia back from those that would dare to destroy it, i.e. the Muslim community, i.e. the pro-Palestinian nutjobs that are protesting on our streets pretty much every single day or every single weekend. We're sick of it. We're sick of the mass immigration that is going on. there's not enough space or room because it jacks up the prices for houses for ordinary Australians that have been here for a very long time. Australian citizens, not the immigrants I'm talking about, Australian citizens, it's very hard for them to actually get a place. You know why? Because there's not enough houses to go around for people that actually want to buy a damn house, because a vast majority of them, they're giving them away to immigrants to come into the country. So that's what we're protesting, amongst many other things. But yes, mass immigration is definitely at the top of the list. We're also marching for corruption. We're sick and tired of our leaders. And Abbie Chatfield, she brought it up. She brought up the fact that we've got a government of corrupt individuals that, you know, don't have our best interests at heart. So, Abbie, why don't you come down and why don't you march with us? Oh, no, for her, it's perceived to be Australians marching with an Australian flag. That's not patriotic. That's racist and xenophobic, apparently. How exactly? But yet, for some reason, you've got pro-Muslim, pro-Islamic, pro-Palestinian nut jobs on the streets of Sydney, Melbourne, you name it. They're protesting, waving terrorism flags, and that's somehow acceptable to you? Huh. That's interesting to me. Yeah, the cost of living, we've had enough of it. We're getting sick and tired of the government only bowing down to this small little minority group and neglecting the majority. That's what we're fed up about. That's what people are going, you know what? We're going to march and take our Australia back. The Australia that I remember, we are for immigrants coming into this country legally through due process. But why is it that some of my friends that are hardworking, they should be Australians? They're hardworking. They can't even get a proper visa, for goodness sake. But yet Albanese allows in somewhere over 200,000 immigrants from goodness knows where to come in and take over, effectively speaking. How does that work exactly? How is it that I walk into the supermarket and a packet of Tim Tams is almost $8? Chocolate is almost $9 now. How is it that that is Australia? How is it that people can't afford rent? They can't afford groceries. Oh, you're fine, Abbie Chatfield. You'll be fine. But everyday hardworking Australians are just fed up, and the government's not listening to them. Electricity, the mortgage, you name it. There's so many issues that are going on. And she's the one that brings up the fault of the government. But yet it's somehow our fault for protesting and marching in the streets and saying enough's enough. When did protesting for our freedoms become somehow racist, xenophobic? When did that happen? And all these stupid terms that she's throwing out. She's got no idea what the hell they mean. None of, like, xenophobia? Good grief, woman. Racism? Oh, no. Apparently, you can't be racist to white people, but white people waving the Australian flag and saying we only want one flag, and when you've got actual Aboriginals like Jacinta Namatjimba Price going, we only need one flag, and she's happened to be Aboriginal, and her mother happened to be First Nation, Aboriginal, and she's going, we only need one flag. But it's only these virtue signaling dingbats that just get on their little high horses and get emotional, and there's no reason, no logic behind anything that she says. It's merely just pure hatred. And she's like swearing up a storm in the meantime, like as she's talking. Good grief, woman. Get a control of yourself. So effectively, she's blaming the current government for the cost of living crisis. She's blaming COVID. She's saying there's much more complex economic and political strategies at large here, but immigrants are not to blame for the cost of living crisis. Well, I hate to break it to you, Abbie Chatfield, but these so-called complex economic and political strategies revolve around immigration. See, when you don't have enough stock of something, what do you think happens to the price? Simple economics, right? the price of that thing that is quite scarce now, thanks to there's a lot of people in demand trying to get it, the price rises, doesn't it? Oh, wait. Did you go to like basic math class? I mean, I didn't do too well in math, but surely to goodness, I understand basic economics. That's one of them. If something is high in demand, what do you think is going to happen to the price? Oh, but according to Abbie Chatfield, this is a complex economic and political strategy from our current government to, well, make it hard for immigrants and immigrants only. So on one hand, you're blaming the government. The next hand, you're saying that it's not the fault of the immigrants, but yet it is the fault of the immigrants because there's too many people coming in from a different country. And then you want to go and blame the white Australian that is going to protest. Guaranteed, it's not just going to be white Australians that will be at the march. Yes, there will be quite a few of them, but there will be multicultural, I reckon. There'll be a vast majority of multicultural Australians, because that's what Australia really is. The immigrants of, well, not that long ago, believe it or not, the ones that came here, worked their backsides off, lived the Australian dream, got a house, and they're like not really recognizing Australia anymore because it's been taken over by immigrants that come here, that don't want to assimilate, that have destroyed our way of life, have destroyed our culture, raised prices through the roof. And yes, the government is at fault because the government does absolutely nothing except rip you off. It's only good for a select number of people. For a small business owner, and this is one thing that Abbie Chatfield needs to get through a thick skull because it's not really working for her. She should know this because she is a small business owner, or maybe she doesn't really check her finances or know how that all works. But for a small business owner like myself, we get taxed to kingdom come. We're the ones that are the backbone of this economy. So when the government goes, oh, here's something for free, it's not for free. It usually means that the government is going to tax small business through the roof. So they put pressure on us and then they give lots of tax breaks to the big business because they think the big business is the one that actually controls everything, but yet it's not. It's a small business. Because guess how many small businesses are in Australia? Thousands. Small business runs this country. So you know who's going to be at that protest? Small business owners. Everyday, hard-working Australians are just trying to get by, just trying to do their thing, just trying to live the Australian dream, right? But they can't because it's been taken away from stupid government policies, government wastage. Notice how she didn't mention that. And also people that actually really do hate Australia. They're not here, and yet they're only complaining. They're only complaining when things are not going their way. But then when we complain about real problems, nah, that's racist, that's xenophobic, that's bigoted. It's all wrong. But yet somehow people can march and chant death to Israel and Netanyahu and hold up terror leaders. She won't call that out because apparently in her brain, that's justice. But yet everyday Australians that are fed up, I mean, she said that not all Australians think this way. Guess what, Abbie? You and your Gen Z little camaraderie of dingbats, you're not the majority. You're the little minority group that, yes, has a very loud voice, and it is quite annoying. The majority of people, the majority of Australians that truly love Australia, that do not recognize it anymore, that's the people that will be marching and letting their voices known. Albanese is not doing anything good for Australia. He's not. And Abbie, you're not helping by causing a lot of hate. By causing and name calling, saying that we're racist, xenophobic bigots. That's not helping when an everyday hardworking Aussie is just trying to get by. So you can throw out all the insults you want. It's not going to help your cause. It's not going to stop the protest. Now, again, I'll finish on this. I think they should do it on a different day, to be honest, just so they can get more people, more numbers, and especially in Sydney, because Sydney is a big hub. And I think doing it on the 31st, I don't think the organisers realised. Maybe they did, maybe they didn't. It's the same day as the marathon. I think that's just going to cause a great deal of problems, to be honest. And you got the pro-Palestinian nutjob group that's going to clash, counter protests. You know who's going to be blamed for it? The March for Australia protest. Watch the mainstream media. It's nuts. Anyway, that's enough from me, but you guys take care. Be blessed, and I'll see you all in the next video.